I personally feel that some investors in the German-speaking area are currently sleeping on the new trend. If we take a look at the monthly view of the altcoin market, it's clear that the altcoin projects related to AI agents have performed some of the best, including virtuals and other AI agent projects. And that's exactly why I want to talk about new agent projects in today's video. Simply because a new catalyst has just occurred, which could further boost the overall trend. Google just announced Gemini's AI agents. And in my opinion, this catalyst offers a similar effect to what we saw back when ChatGPT was released. You all must remember back to November 30th, 2020 when ChatGPT was released, and right after that we saw a parabolic rise in some AI altcoins in the crypto market. And you can see how important such catalysts are for the crypto market. And in my opinion, a similar trend is unfolding at this point in time. And it's also very important to understand here that, in my opinion, this is not just a short-term trend that might last for a few days or weeks. I can very well imagine that all the AI agent projects will dominate the upcoming bull run, making it the top narrative. I've mentioned several times on my YouTube channel what my personal top narratives are. Even if you look back at some of my older videos, it's mainly always about AI projects and the narrative itself. But in my opinion, within the AI industry and the crypto market, another sub-niche has developed, namely projects. I mean, at the end of the day, the numbers, data, and facts are clearly on the table, and we can obviously see which direction the crypto market is heading. Or would it be a fatal mistake not to adjust your portfolio to such trends and also include such projects in your portfolio? Or would it be a fatal mistake not to adjust your portfolio to such trends? Or would it be a fatal mistake not to adjust your portfolio to such trends and also include such projects in your portfolio? Of course, protection, the protocol has already been pumped. I wouldn't invest in it anymore. I think some of you are doing really well, really in profit. I had mentioned virtuals on my YouTube channel at 50 cents now, but in today's video we're talking about new agent projects. I know I uploaded a video like this 5 days ago, but in today's video we're going to talk again about new projects for 2021. I want to give a nice overview of which coins I'm currently keeping a close eye on, so definitely stick around until the end. It's once again packed with value and also includes some altcoins that I personally bought more of. Otherwise, definitely check out the last video, simply because otherwise today's video won't make sense, since I won't be mentioning projects like Based AI Sensei, where I'm heavily invested, because today I really want to talk about new projects. And that's why we're going to talk about the first project, which is OpenSurf. I had already mentioned 1000 on my YouTube channel back then. You can check it out in the XXXL altcoin update. 5 new AI hidden gems that I bought. I've also found an entry point with OpenSurf. As I said, I shared it publicly with you at a market cap of 25 million at a price of 3.9 cents, and even now we've pumped nicely, so overall at 10 cents, that's a good 2.5x that I could take with me. That's why happy profits are going out at this point, but I should say quite clearly here, I personally actually bought more, so even though I had such a perfect entry, I didn't take any profits. Instead, I bought more at this point. I also think that at this point, if you haven't found an entry yet, it's still okay to make an investment here, because at the end of the day, this is strongly heading in the direction of virtual protocol. It's basically an infrastructure being created to bring AI agents onto the blockchain. We can take a look at this. 2021, the future of work pioneering the infrastructure of autonomous AI agents. And here we see how it is all structured. It reminds me a bit of the setup of OpenGPU, which is also a public decentralized network. In the case of OpenSurf, the focus is clearly on the AI agents compared to OpenGPU. And here we also have various possibilities for what we can implement with AI agents, data analysts, graphic design, so there are definitely various possibilities. Also, the team is public here, which I think is an incredibly positive sign, especially for smaller projects, let's say projects under a 100 million market cap. It's definitely a strong plus point when the team is public and really stands behind the project with their faces. That's why, in my opinion, it's still one of the top projects when it comes to the AI agent space. Few discuss this project. Market cap of 500-600 million soon. A 10x return is possible, and a 2000-3000x is achievable. So I think even from this point onward, a good 10x is possible, and if you're already sitting on a good x thanks to my video, then you'll easily be able to take a 2000-3000x with this project overall. So, as I said, I'm already invested and even bought more, just so you know, because I'm really convinced about this project in the long term. Next, let's talk about the next project, which is definitely one of my top favorites, I have to say. It's a new project that I just added to my portfolio, and it's actually a pretty big position, not just a few $100s or a small allocation, but actually with a bit more capital, and that is Sentio Protocol. In my opinion, it's one of the best newcomers in the AI agent market, with a market cap of 36 million. Not just with a small allocation, but actually with a bit more capital, and that is Sentio Protocol. In my opinion, it's one of the best newcomers in the AI agent market with a market cap of 36 million. At this point, we are also just before a larger breakout from this symmetrical triangle. Otherwise, happy profits are going out here. I mentioned Sentio Protocol in the last video at 18 million market cap used. Right now, we're already sitting on some decent profits, so we've already taken almost a 2x here, which is why happy profits are going out again. So please tell me another community that's currently making so many profits in the crypto market, especially in this market phase where not much is really happening. Many altcoins are still struggling, but I think we're definitely among the first to point out such trends. That's why, for all those who have already jumped in because of my last video, they're logically already in profit. I personally haven't sold anything. 2001, I actually think that right now is still a good time to get in. So, a market cap of just 36 million isn't really much. There is still a lot to be done, especially because there are a few things to consider here. The Node AI team is behind this, so for those of you who don't know Node AI, we can take a look, and it is a decentralized cloud computing project, so you can imagine it going in a similar direction to OpenGPU. It's a solid project in itself, and in my opinion, if a team already has such a good track record, meaning they've proven they can execute projects, then everything internally with the team is in order. We see here that with a market cap of 144 million, it has been significantly higher before, almost reaching 300 million. When I see that the team can deliver, that they know what they're doing, then in my opinion, the risk is quite manageable if I invest in Sentio Protocol, because it's essentially the partner project of Node. Especially considering that the project is only a few days old, launched on the 26th. December, this project was launched, and I really think we're among the very first to invest in such a project. I can even imagine that we could reach very high multi-million market cap areas, so several hundred million is definitely my price target. I haven't sold anything yet, and I'll obviously let you know on my YouTube channel as soon as I start taking profits here. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the exit. So, getting in is all well and good, and you can often take profits quickly, getting a 2x to 5x return, but you really have to be careful to execute the exit properly. So, as I said, make sure to subscribe so you're fully informed about my own strategy. That's why, as I said, Sentio is one of the top projects that I'm really convinced about, and it has now become one of the larger positions in my own portfolio. Otherwise, I would also like to say that, especially with such new projects, you should be extremely careful, because at the end of the day, as a YouTuber, I also have a certain responsibility. I know that at the end of the day, this isn't financial advice, but I also know that many people use my YouTube videos as a point of reference, as inspiration. That's why I feel I have a certain responsibility, and I want to make it very clear that you have to be extremely careful, especially with smaller projects. And while we're on the subject, I want to make it clear that I am not paid by any of these projects, just in case the question comes up, "Hey Vincent, why are you talking about Project XY in such a positive or negative way?" So, as I said, I am not paid by any of these projects. Next up, we're moving on to the next project that I'm personally invested in, which is Morph AI. I also introduced it on my YouTube channel, so definitely check out my last video for more details. Morph AI was also briefly mentioned at a market cap of 13 million, and in this case, we've been pumped a bit higher. I am still convinced about this, and I am still invested. It's also about AI agents, basically creating a whole decentralized infrastructure to bring AI agents to market, to bring it onto the blockchain. In this case, there are different agents, specifically the creator AI, which is also the unique selling point of Morph, as it allows entire influences to be brought onto the blockchain. Entire influences are managed through decentralized agents. Otherwise, there's also voice AI. So, we definitely see that we have various options, and this is one of the best projects I want to invest in, especially when there's a wide-ranging use case and a diverse representation of AI agents. Also, the tokenomics are great, the roadmap looks solid, and overall, I really like the way the marketing is set up. 100% is already in circulating supply, so we don't have to worry about potential inflation here. Everything fits. It's a nice all-around package, but of course you have to be careful. It's still relatively new, it's just getting started, but I think there's still a lot of potential here. So I think that in the near future, if the trend continues, especially as liquidity flows from larger projects into smaller ones, a 5x to 10x return is realistic in my opinion. The next project is Infinity AI, which is also extremely exciting because we started perfectly from the ground up, and these are the best charts I want to invest in. So, speaking generally and independently of the project, it's extremely positive and really good when projects start from the ground up, from point zero, so that everyone has the chance to be involved from day one. This strengthens the community, it strengthens the core of investors, because of course a large part, 90% of the investors, are in profit with such a project, and that creates the perfect foundation to build on. A stark counterexample would be ICP or other projects that launch, then sell off heavily, then form a bottom somewhere, and slowly climb back up from there. That's usually not a good chart, so please always pay attention to how the projects launch and what the tokenomics are like. So, at the end of the day, it's always one of the main metrics that I consider. What are the tokenomics like, what is a fair launch, and how is the token distribution in general? So, you really have to be careful about that. Otherwise, we can also take a look at Infinity AI's Twitter, changing the way you use, own, and create AI. So, everything is heading in a similar direction. It's also a decentralized platform, and they are all basically imitators of Virtual's protocol. Of course, not all of them will succeed. I think something like Send Your Protocol follows a similar principle at the end of the day. Build powerful on-chain AI agents, so everything is heading in a very similar direction. So, in a way, everything is a copy, or not necessarily a copy, but many are just trying to outdo Virtual's protocol or make it better than Virtual's protocol. And of course, the question always is, how much market share will the individual projects capture to simply do it better than Virtual's protocol? And of course, the question always is, how much market share will the individual projects capture? It may be the case that certain projects perform better than others. I still think Virtual's will be the leader, but I believe other projects with similar use cases can benefit from it as well, because liquidity rotates within the ecosystem among the different projects. That's why it's incredibly important to focus on the right projects in the right industry, and right now, those are AI agents. Otherwise, an old hand in this area, it's actually not a project that has just launched. Type AI might be familiar to some of you. If you know Alex Becker, then you might also remember Back. Alex Becker strongly promoted Tabai back then, and some wallets were discovered. Whether Alex Becker himself was invested here, which is currently the case, I personally have no idea if Alex Becker is still invested or not, but I still think Type AI is an exciting project because even back then, it was one of the few projects that already had the use case of digital AI agents. We can take a look here. There's already quite a bit available. 2001, when projects have been on the market for a while or so. They had more time to work on their project, and in my opinion, they are also delivering on Twitter. We see regular posts here too, things are being delivered, so I can well imagine that Type AI will have a similar run again. It's a solid proof and track record showing such projects can pump, as seen from the good tokenomics with most in circulation. I believe the bottom formed around 30 to 54 cents, and an upward trend may start, making it a potential entry point, though not my personal favorite. Otherwise, I also think the bottom has formed here, especially the origin that happened around 32, let's say 54 cents is, in my opinion, the bottom. I can easily imagine that we will slowly but surely build an upward trend from here, so this might be a good time to consider finding an entry point. In that case, it wouldn't be my personal favorite. My personal choice, no. One thing is for sure, but I also think Type AI is very likely to perform well. In 2021, the next project is Reploy AI. It's an AI agent project. It's also a clear competitor to Virtual's protocol. We will see a solid price performance here as well. It's also a clear competitor to Virtual's protocol, and we can see what Virtual's protocol has achieved. You always have to consider the ratios. 4.2 billion market cap compared to Reploy AI's 50 million market cap. Yes, even if only a fraction of what Virtual's protocol has achieved is reached by Reploy AI as a competing project, we will see a solid price performance here as well. So we are absolutely fresh and among the first to invest in this 23rd deck. There was the launch, and of course there has already been a significant price performance. You're naturally competing with other investors who are already in substantial profit, but in my opinion, the chart looks very clean in this case. We've broken out nicely here, so I can easily imagine that we're slowly but surely heading for the next leg up, meaning the next pump upwards towards $10. This is definitely the next move that I think can happen quite well in the near future. So, for those who haven't watched the last video yet, definitely check it out as I go into more detail about this project. Otherwise, Vertical AI is going in a similar direction. With a market cap of 91 million, it's a bit larger and has been pushed by some very big influencers, so there are quite a few calls behind it. Personally, as I said, I'm not paid by any of these projects, but I still like to mention it. Right now, many other influencers are also talking about it, and that's definitely a good foundation when there's a lot of marketing around such projects. And accordingly, we have a nice breakout here, and usually, when such breakouts happen, you can determine a price target. That's why I think prices in the near future are realistic around 130 to 140. That's definitely the next price target that vertical AI will likely aim for. In the coming days, realistically around 130 to 140. That's definitely the next price target that vertical AI will likely aim for. And here, as I said, the use case is definitely there. Train, deploy, and monetize your custom AI model. At the end of the day, it's also about AI agents. You can definitely see how everything runs like a common thread throughout the entire video. All the AI projects have a similar use case. At the end of the day, these are infrastructure projects that provide the infrastructure for AI agents. Just like Coffee, the next project is also a new project which I actually never mentioned on my YouTube channel, which shared this project with me. Otherwise, if you have your own AI agent projects in mind, or if you're generally invested in other projects that I haven't mentioned on my YouTube channel yet, feel free to join the Telegram group, the public free one, where you can also share your input. Or surely write it in the comments if you have any new projects, because in my opinion, the crypto market is all about collaboration, and I think it's great when we can maximize our potential as a community by supporting each other. If you can also give me tips or share coins that you're currently keeping an eye on, I think that's surely the best way to grow together, not just for me to present the coins to you, but for us to tackle this as a team and really get the maximum out of this bull run. In general, coins that you're currently keeping an eye on. So I definitely think that's the best way to grow together, not just for me to present the coins to you, but for us to tackle this as a team and really get the absolute maximum out of this bull run. Because I have to be very clear here. There have been several occasions where some members of my community, especially viewers like you, have sent me projects, whether it was on Telegram or in the comments, which I then looked into repeatedly. Accordingly, we've also discovered new hidden gems together as a community. So I definitely owe all of this to you. It's not just 100% my work, I want to make that very clear. So thank you goes out to everyone for that. Now, as I said, let's talk about the Coffee project again. It's actually a similar use case to the building blocks for on-chain agents. So we can also see here that infrastructure is being provided for AI agents. We can also see here that the marketing fits very well. In this case, we keep seeing regular posts on the marketplace to buy and sell agents, plugins, and more. So it's also a nice infrastructure that you can invest in. Tokenomics fit, looks very clean, also nice from the origin. So it's definitely a project that I'm keeping a very close eye on, and I'm actually seriously considering investing a tranche. We're also starting to see a kind of formation taking shape here, and I think if the next breakout happens, we could quickly see prices around 20 to 30 US dollars. That's why Coffee is an incredibly exciting project that you definitely shouldn't lose sight of. Otherwise, I just want to briefly mention Zetra AI. There was someone from my community who shared this project with me. I wouldn't invest in it just yet. Make sure to add it to your watch list. So, I can recommend to each of you to create your own watch lists so you always have an overview, and as soon as your project, your favorite project that you might be keeping an eye on, reaches the right level, you can find an entry point here. That would be the case for me here. Maybe in this range, where we're talking about between $2 and $3, you can find the next entry point. That's why I wouldn't invest right now, but I think in the near future, there could potentially be a kind of reversal, where you might find an entry point around the $2 mark. Just so you know, that's roughly my method. My strategy at this current time, also similar to the next project, Oak. Orc is a promising project in AI decentralized agents. With a market cap of 4 million, it is undervalued and could rise significantly. AI decentralized agents are trending similarly. I aim to inspire on YouTube, offering project references. It's a project to watch with a market cap of 4 million. It's undervalued compared to others, potentially reaching 8, 16, or 30 million. Be cautious, as it can drop by 50% or 70%. So, it's an absolute joke compared to other AI agent projects, and it can definitely move quickly, potentially reaching a market cap of 8 million, 16 million, or even 30 million. Otherwise, of course, you have to be careful because such projects can quickly drop by 50% or even 70%. So, at the end of the day, you always have to be aware of the risks. If we take a look at this, we have a kind of upward trend line here. It's very possible that we might come back here, and as soon as we reach another contact point, we could see a drop of 60% happening. And I think some of you aren't really aware of the risks, especially how volatile these kinds of coins are that I often mention on my YouTube channel. So, be extremely careful here, and that's exactly why I tend to mention these projects at the end of the video. Otherwise, if you want to invest in coins that are, so to speak, safer bets, though you can never really call them safe bets, this isn't financial advice at the end of the day, but generally speaking, if you want to invest in coins that have a bit more substance and show less volatility, then projects like Based AI or of course larger, more established projects are definitely the better choice in this case. So definitely be extremely careful when it comes to smaller projects. Otherwise, Strawberry AI is one of my favorites. I wanted to mention it again in today's video. Otherwise, check out the last video if you're interested in this project. Otherwise, there are still 2 bonus projects. I'm not a big fan of incorporating things on the Solana chain in my YouTube videos because at the end of the day, especially on Solana, it's just pure pump and dump. So, I'm definitely a much bigger fan of Ethereum, meaning all the coins that run on Ethereum, because Solana tends to be much more fast-paced. It can simply happen that projects die off from one day to the next, so you really have to be careful. But especially such projects in general serve as inspiration for you as well, and they are personally very interesting to me, where it's all about decentralized digital agents completely taking over social media. We're seeing the first ever AI video agent powered by Codex. So, it's basically about having a kind of influencer who creates content here, making her own TikToks and whatnot. So, the next project, Moet, is heading in a similar direction. It's basically another one. Digital influencer who produces content here, or the Twitter account she manages and her social media channels in general are currently very hyped, and we can see that the individual charts are moving through relatively quickly. My strategy when investing is always to start with small amounts, and as soon as there's a 1x or 2x, once there's a doubling, I personally pull out my initial investment. So everything I invested, I take out 100% and then just let the profits run. That's a typical strategy for 2021 that you can definitely apply, especially with Solana coins. You have to be much more cautious there than on the Ethereum blockchain, so just keep that in mind. And especially when it comes to games, you have to be careful on Solana because a lot more coins are launched here every day, and the volatility is significantly higher on Solana than on Ethereum. So overall, the fast pace is definitely much more intense on Solana, which is why you have to be careful. That's why I only briefly mentioned it again at the end of the video, but that's it for today's YouTube video. I hope you enjoyed it, and maybe it gave some of you a bit of inspiration about which projects I'm currently keeping a close eye on. Make sure to write in the comments which projects you like the most and where you might even be invested yourself. Also, feel free to check out the last video if your project was missing. I covered some other projects there. Otherwise, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for new YouTube videos and new AI agent projects that I'll be discovering in the coming days. I'm of course always on the lookout for new projects. So I'm constantly on Dex Screener checking out the new pairs and always looking at what's happening on Ethereum or Solana just to be one of the first to invest in such projects. Feel free to join the public Telegram group as well, where we exchange ideas within the community about new altcoin projects. Otherwise, as I said, I sincerely thank you for your attention, and I'll see you again in the next video.